Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored to be here. Whilst our competitor is hosting their sales upstairs, we Sothebys decided to come and support the TDC. Now, I've only been given 15 minutes to speak, so I'm going to take you through my slides very quickly. It's not going to be as informative, as technical as what you heard over lunch, but I hope it will be more entertaining. Okay. Oops. All right. This is not advertising, but this is relevant. You will see this is Sothebys. We're actually the oldest auction house in the world, founded in 1744. But I like to tell my clients in China that we were actually established in Qinlong Gaolin, because Qianlong Emperor, Ching dynasty. That's when we were set up, and if we're actually a public company now quoted in the New York Stock Exchange. It's very interesting. If you look very carefully, this is our New York headquarters, and if you look at the flags outside our main entrance, in the middle, you see a Chinese flag. Now, when I joined the company 10 years ago, it was not a Chinese flag. It was an Irish flag. And after a while, I actually said to our worldwide CEO, I said, hey, this is really unfair. You don't even have an auction house. You don't even have a sales center in Ireland, whilst Asia and China contributing so much money to the organization's profit. I think it's about time you raise the flag, the Chinese flag. That didn't happen, but until about 4 or 5 years ago, I got a phone call one night, and the worldwide CEO said to me, Kevin, we are raising your Chinese flag tomorrow. Would you come and sing the national anthem? And I said, not if you fly me over on first class. Of course, then nothing happened. The flag went up, and this has become a bit of tourist attraction now that when our clients come to bid in New York, they all like to have a picture taken underneath the Chinese flag. Now, Sotheby's has 5 major sales rooms: London, Geneva, Paris, Hong Kong, and New York. Hong Kong actually is very important. Hong Kong is one of the 3 major sales centers for Sotheby's. After London, New York is Hong Kong. And also, it is the headquarters in Asia. We came to Hong Kong in 1973, and Sotheby's has now a global network of 90 offices in 40 countries. We have rep offices in 9 cities in Asia. When we first came to Hong Kong, we were only selling Chinese ceramics, just one category. And now we're selling 11 categories. We do 40 auctions a year. But of course, compared with what goes on in the world, is in a way nothing, because worldwide we have 250 auctions in 70 categories. But in Hong Kong, of course, we sell things that appeal to Asian, for example, Southeast Asian art, Chinese art, Chinese paintings, and then the more global categories like jewelry, wine, etc. Now, the global art market is actually quite interesting. If you look at the left, that is the global world art market, not just the auction. Because when you talk about auction, that is just a very small part of art transactions in the world, because a lot of transactions are actually done through galleries, art fairs, private sales. Auction is just a very small part of it. And on the left, that's the world art market, is everything. And in 2014, the global art market was worth $54 billion US. And China, in 2011, it peaked. China actually took over London, New York, and became the largest art market in the world, with 30% of market share. Of course, things have slowed down a bit since then, and in 2014, it dropped to the 2nd place. But imagine, this is actually quite amazing. If you talk about 20 years ago, I think China's share of the world art market was probably either the 1%, 0%, but now it's the second largest in the whole world. Now, on the right is the art auction market. And even then, auction market, China was #1 in 2011, and now probably second place. And this is Sotheby's Hong Kong auctions from 2009 and to 2015. Basically, the total transaction value in both 2013 and 14 tripled that of 2009. It's grown phenomenally, and that has largely that's largely the result of the rise of China as a collecting power. Now, more or less, if we talk about auctions in Hong Kong, of course, we have international clients for across all categories, especially in jewelry, in wine, in contemporary art. But essentially, our business is basically divided between Taiwan, Hong Kong, and mainland China. This is the growth of Asian versus non-Asian clients. Of course, Asian clients have grown a lot faster than non-Asian clients bidding in Hong Kong. Now, the reason why this chart is to illustrate why Hong Kong is actually still very important as an art market, especially for auctions. If you look at the import duties, customs duties, for Hong Kong, art transactions is 0%. You can bring art into Hong Kong, out of Hong Kong, there's no charge. But if you look at China, there's just so many restrictions, it's unbelievable. If you look at antiques, if you bring things into China, they charge you a VAT of 17%. Except paintings and sculptures, if it's antiques, it's 17%, they charge you VAT. Anything over 100 years old, they only charge you 17%. But if something that's over 100 years old, but if it's paintings and sculptures, it's 24%. So it's very high. And for watches, jewelry, these luxury items, it could be as high as 60%. So in a way, there's no way that they could actually compete with us in terms of taxation. That is why all the art fairs are happening in Hong Kong. That is why a lot of people prefer to, especially Western collectors or collectors, non-Chinese collectors, they would prefer to sell in Hong Kong rather than in China. Because just bringing the stuff into China, you're already triggering a lot of tax. Apart from taxation, that is import-export. What about transactions? In Hong Kong, if you're a private collector buying, selling art, even if you make a lot of money, there's no tax, 0%. If you're a dealer, then it's 16.5% on profit. But in China, it's 25% on profit if you're a dealer. Again, Hong Kong has that advantage of taxation. Now, apart from taxation, there are also import-export restrictions. In Hong Kong, basically the import and export of art, there are very few restrictions, very user-friendly, as it were. But for China, they have a thing called a list of restricted artists. So if you buy a work by Zhang Daqian, Qi Baishi, Lin Fengmian, you cannot actually take it out of China because it's on the list of restricted artists. And they actually update it all the time. So basically, almost anyone who is pretty dead, or anyone who's just died but his paintings are worth a lot of money, you cannot take it out. Also, cultural relics, basically anything that's antique, anything of, and cultural relics is just so widely defined, you don't really know what it is. Basically, if it's Chinese antique, you cannot take it out. Anything that is older than Ching, sort of Ching dynasty or older, or anything that's older than, that's pre-1949, you might not be able to take it out. There are things that are of great social or historical importance, you cannot take it out. So even if you have a little, arguably, oh my God, 5 minutes left? I have so many more interesting stories. Well, my goodness. And what do? Okay, number of galleries in Hong Kong. In 2000, there were only 10 galleries in Hong Kong. In 2015, there was 100. So you imagine. And then international galleries setting up Asian headquarters in Hong Kong. You look at this list of very important galleries, international galleries, they're all in Hong Kong. Number of art fairs, major art auctions, Art Basel, Art Hotel, Art Fair, Affordable Art, Fine Art Asia, blah, blah, blah. Good Lord. No, I want to talk about, this is actually very interesting. Let's forget about all the numbers. I just want to show you international participation in Hong Kong sales. For example, it's not just Hong Kong Asian people buying from Asia auctions, but international organizations, dealers, collectors also buy from Hong Kong. This, in 2014, the sale of this necklace was legendary. This necklace actually belonged to a friend of mine, or my parents' friend rather. I actually chased it for 9 years. I finally got it. And this, and thank you. And this necklace was rumored to be part of a much longer jadeite necklace belonging to Emperor Cixi, but that was just the story. But in any case, it was a beautiful necklace. The beads were so huge, and what was more, because what makes art valuable is provenance. This necklace actually used to belong to this girl, Barbara Hutton, who was actually the heiress of the Woolworth retail empire. She was also the subject of the movie, The Poor Little Rich Girl. She had 7 husbands, including Cary Grant. And, but she was just spending so much money that if you actually see, she was a beautiful lady on the right. That was her like 4th husband, I think. But she was wearing that necklace. She was given a necklace on her 18th birthday, and she was actually wearing it at one of her parties. And when she died at the age of 66 of a heart attack. The son died before her in 1972 in an air crash. Just very, very, very tragic. She had tons of money, but very unhappy. But anyway, the necklace was beautiful. And at the night, on the night of the sale, I was actually representing a client who was actually quite powerful and had a lot of money. But every time I was bidding, there was someone who was bidding above me. And I couldn't understand why. And I looked around, and I actually saw a Western colleague of mine on the phone. And I just thought, hey, then it must be perhaps a non-Chinese client. Anyway, the person who actually won the necklace was actually Cartier. Because if you look at this necklace very carefully, the clasp was actually made by Cartier. Cartier wanted to buy, because it was so interesting, has such great provenance, Cartier Museum decided to buy it back for their museum. So they purchased this for 214 million Hong Kong dollars, and it was then exhibited in their central jewelry shop for about a month for their clients to look at. I don't have time anymore, right? It's a pity, because I have interesting stories. Oh, this is you might know this person. He doesn't mind, he loves publicity. Normally, confidentiality regulations don't allow us to disclose our client's identity or their pictures, but this guy, he would want me to do this. He is now probably the most powerful collector in China. His name is Liu Yiqian, and he buys all the top lots from all the major sales around the world. And he bought this chicken cup for $281 million from us. The picture on the left is when he came to pay. He had to swipe his card 24 times. No, he wanted himself to be filmed. Look at all the cameras. So it was quite a spectacle. He got into all the major international press. This is a chicken cup, very much sought after. He bought many other things from us. What else? Hang on. Okay, the Chinese have now also branched into collecting Western art. I think, although this doesn't have much to do with Hong Kong, but I think it also shows you how important Hong Kong is as an art capital. Because when these people first started buying, they were buying from us in Hong Kong, but then gradually they came across Western Impressionist paintings, etc. When we had them here to do the preview for our New York and London sales, they began to appreciate Western art. They started buying. This was Wang Zhongguan. You know, his company was like the Huayi Brothers, Warner Brothers of China, and he bought this beautiful Van Gogh still life for $61 million US. Okay. Auction, because then our headquarters decided that we should not really stick to just the auction business. We should perhaps branch out into other business models. So we decided to take an extra floor in Pacific Place to use it as a gallery. So in between our two major sales at the convention center, we now actually have a gallery space where we do retail as well. So we do various shows, furniture, paintings. I even did a bonsai show. This is when people can actually come, they see something they like, they would just pay and take it away. They don't need to bid in the room. So this was actually quite groundbreaking of us. I decided that we should do something different to make our gallery sexier. So we did this show of Gardens of Pleasure, Sex in Ancient China. And I tell you, we had so many people coming to our gallery, more than when we were showing Picasso. Look, we had like 600 people a day, including giggling ladies. Okay, the latest thing we did was the Magna Carta show a couple of weeks ago. I decided that the rule of law is something that I think also makes Hong Kong an art capital. Because here, if you buy something, if you sell something and someone doesn't pay, you can go to court, you can sue the guy. We have a very efficient legal system, and that is something also that China doesn't really have at the moment, and that is also our advantage. So I thought, we must show the Magna Carta, which is arguably the cornerstone of the common law, which we have in Hong Kong. Right, just carry on spending, and we'll make Hong Kong the great art hub of Asia. Thank you.